Hello everybody and welcome to What I'm Buying, the series where I show you what shirts I've been adding to my personal collection and also shine a light on what you guys in the community have been buying. Before I show you guys the shirts that I've added, a quick reminder, the usual housekeeping here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed. That's an important way to support the channel and it keeps you informed with the new videos that I'll be putting out each and every week. You'll also get notifications when I go live. For my various live streams, so it's a good way to stay up to date with Phil's Corner. If you enjoyed this video as well, please make sure you leave a like and a comment. It really helps again to just boost what we're doing here. And if you want to support me even further, I've got a Patreon. You can find the details in the description. Thank you to everyone who is a current patron, and even just as I'm talking, I'll show you guys a quick screen I've got here with a few thank yous. Thank you to the numbers of people who are supporting me. It really is a humbling experience to have many people around the world as part of this community, and it's an exciting growing community as well. There's some benefits if you join, but do check out the Patreon if you are interested in supporting me further. But even if you're just watching this video, it's a big support, so thank you to you for stopping by. And actually, just before I show you guys the shirts, I want to say thank you to Art of Football for sending over one of their amazing shirts here. How good is this? It's a lot of fun seeing all these cult players on this shirt. You can probably spot a few of them. You can play a game at home and try and guess as many players as you can on this shirt. But thank you to Art of Football. Of course, if you want to pick up this shirt and any other good stuff that they've got, you can check out their website. I'll link that in the description as well. But guys, let's get to the shirts. I've got 3 shirts to show you today. First up, we have this grey shirt from Wellington Phoenix. And this is a shirt from the brand Paladin, a brand I've never had a shirt from before, so I was really looking forward to picking this one up. Also, this is one of those rare moments where my passions for football shirts and Age of Empires 2 collide. Anyone who plays Age of Empires 2 will get that reference. But anyway, this Paladin shirt is a really fun one. It is fully sublimated, and that's the one thing which I will say straight off the bat. Clearly doesn't have the quality of some of your higher end brands. But in terms of the design, it's really smart. It's got this pattern on the front here, which is quite subtle, but I like it. It's not too overbearing. Obviously, the colour scheme of Wellington Phoenix as well is pretty strong with the black and yellow. The Huawei sponsor as well. Not the most aesthetically pleasing in the red, but it doesn't hurt too much. To be honest, as I think about it, I don't even know if I've had an A-League shirt before. And I'm trying to think, I'm sure at least once in my collecting years, I've had an A-League shirt, but off the top of my head, I can't think of one. So this might even be my first A-League shirt, because Wellington Phoenix, despite being a Kiwi team, they do play in the A-League with Australian teams. This is a very personal shirt as well for me. I'm half Kiwi, my dad was from New Zealand, and I've even got Kiwi citizenship. So I was really happy to pick this one up for that reason as well. And I got this via my sister who lives in New Zealand. She brought this shirt over when she was able to visit recently. So a really good one for me. Again, very personal. This is the kind of shirt which I will keep hold of mostly for personal reasons. And also just the niche brand as well. There's something fun, isn't there, about these kind of brands. And actually, just as we're talking, I've just seen this detail on the back neck of the silhouette of New Zealand. And you got to love the Wellington Phoenix crest there as well. It looks really good. The second shirt I added to my collection in June was last year's Freiburg home shirt. Now, many of you guys know I have a long standing affection for Freiburg. I'd say they're one of my teams really in world football. I've followed them for a few years and I've collected their shirts for a few years. So it's kind of a yearly pick up for me really. I like to pick up at least one Freiburg shirt in the end of season sales. I chose the home shirt. This is the first of a new deal with Nike. Freiburg were with Nike before, but they've come back to them after a deal with Hummel, which was really good, and I really enjoyed that Hummel partnership, of course. But really this shirt I think will be remembered for the fantastic season that Freiburg had on the pitch. They got all the way to the German Cup final, narrowly losing out to RB Leipzig, which is a real shame, but they played their heart out. They played amazing as they had done all season. They nearly qualified for the Champions League as well. They just had such a great year. And even though this shirt is a Nike template, you'll see this design even on a number of teams this season. It was used last season for various clubs at various levels, and it's still being used. So it's not a bespoke design. I actually do think though in the red here, it's one of the better versions of this template design. I think the pattern doesn't actually detract too much. And also notable about this shirt is that it's not only the first of the new Nike era, but the last shirt with the fantastic Schwarzwaldmilch sponsor. But this is a sponsor a local dairy company which have been sponsoring Freiburg shirts for a number of years. So there's a lot in this shirt, really, a lot of stories. I also got it personalised on the back with the Korean player Jeong Woo-young. He had a great season as well, and you got the Freiburg typeface there. And one of the things I like about this shirt is that it's not the easiest to find. It was available at 1 or 2 retailers, but I usually just go direct to the club shop for these shirts, for Freiburg shirts that is. You don't see them on the Nike store and things like that. So I think shirts like this do really age well. I think in many ways I might even start backdating my Freiburg collection and maybe looking to pick up some of the great 90s shirts that they had. I look forward to taking a photo of this as well alongside the rest of my Freiburg collection, which is slowly but surely growing. Last but not least is this Denmark shirt from, I believe, the year 2000. And this is a shirt which I was very happy to pick up for a very cheap price. This was only, I think, about 20 euros from the site Vinted. Vinted, a marketplace which is a bit like eBay. It's one which I've been enjoying looking at recently. And this was a bargain that I found in there. What I would say about this particular shirt, the condition isn't amazing. I mean, even just holding it up here, I'm seeing a number of pulls. And I knew the condition was not great. The seller, I think, did make that pretty clear in the listing. And even the zip, when I received it, you can see here, that had actually fallen off. So I need to repair that in some way. But nonetheless, a really good shirt to pick up for, as I say, less than £20. I was really happy to get hold of this because this to me is a very late 90s, early noughties shirt. Things like the zip, things like the rubberized chevrons. Even though they're a bit discoloured, you can see that. And it's the same with the DBU crest and the Hummel logo. It very much epitomises that era of shirts. We had, I wouldn't say the most aesthetically pleasing elements, but it certainly looks like a shirt from that era. Things like the zip, of course Manchester United had a shirt with a zip like that, and other teams had these sorts of zips. But you've got some really nice details in that. You've got a nice subliminal DBU crest. That's actually part of the fabric, which is really nice to see. Always adds a level of quality when it isn't just a print, but it is a jacquard, or sometimes you do see these kind of elements which are, as I say, stitched in. So that's really nice to see. On the back as well, you've got, again, similar kind of shadow stripes. But honestly, guys, this one, as I say, was more of a bargain pickup for me. It's another one of my kind of longer term collecting goals, to pick up more Denmark shirts. Of course, Denmark have had some of the greatest shirts of all time. But some of these shirts, I think, fly under the radar. The ones that aren't your 92s or your 86s. I think shirts like this, again, as part of a wider collection, can really add a lot of value, especially when they're as cheap as this one was. And even though the condition isn't great, again, I would say you could probably call this good condition, but I wouldn't say any more than good. I think the number of pulls would stop it from being considered any more. I don't think it's so bad that it takes away from the shirt. Sometimes a shirt's condition is so bad that it really does kind of harm the experience of owning it. I think this one just about gets the balance right, at least for the price anyway in my eyes. But yeah, just looking again at these chevrons, it's so interesting to see this detail, the fact they are rubberized. This is something which Hummel did for a few years, and I kind of like it, honestly. It's a very novel kind of thing, but looking back, obviously we're quite used to seeing the chevrons in a certain way, either printed on or sometimes stitched on, but to see them in this kind of rubbery application is really funny, and it's matched as well, again, with the DB crest and the Hummel logo. So really interesting shirt from a technology perspective. Like this one, the Denmark 2000 shirt, a real bargain pickup. And that was the third shirt I added to my collection in June 2022. But what have you guys been adding to your collections in June? I've got a few of my favourite submissions here, and I do want to say thank you to everyone who replied to my tweet. I was inundated with replies, and it was really hard to narrow it down to just 5. I think if this keeps going, if I keep seeing so many people replying, I'll even have enough content to do a separate video just for the community. So maybe we'll do that in future. But nonetheless, thank you to those who submitted their shirts. We'll start with Andy from Forbidden Football Shirts, a big member of the community. And this is an absolutely stunning shirt. A shirt I would consider a holy grail. It's the Lyon early 90s design. And I can't think of the exact year. I should have looked this up before I started this. But this is a shirt from the Drake Ramberg era, the early Drake Ramberg days. The legendary shirts from Dortmund and PSG, which Drake Ramberg at Nike designed. I've mentioned it many times on the channel. Look at this design. Look at those sleeves. I absolutely love as well that old school Lyon crest. But to see this one again in long sleeves, it's got that very French vibe with the multiple sponsors as well on the front. But I love this one. And it's a shirt which I've not seen much in the wild at all. These Lyon shirts are often quite hard to find compared to something like a Dortmund or PSG, where you do tend to see those shirts a bit more in circulation. So a rare find, but a beautiful find from Andy at Forbidden Football Shirts. And the heat just keeps on coming, because next up we have Chat Shirts Get Banged, with an amazing Bari Adidas shirt. And this for me, guys, is one of the best Adidas templates, which doesn't get enough love. I think Adidas rightly are heralded for their templates, particularly in the 90s. This one I think deserves more love than it gets. It is absolutely stunning in my eyes. I really like this particular Bari shirt as well because you've just got two colours. I think a shirt can really stand strong when you've got an interesting design which just uses a couple of colours. You've just got the red and white, but because of the geometric nature of it and the paneling and the collar even, it all has so many elements which work together to create something really special. Of course the Bari crest as well deserves a mention. But an amazing pickup. Again, another shirt I'd consider a holy grail. These shirts, you might see them from time to time, but they're not your typical pickup. So a couple of huge additions to start. But I don't just want to highlight old shirts. We've also got a great selection of new shirts here from Jason Connolly. And he's just completed a nice trio here of the recent South Korea shirts, the home, away and pre-match shirts. And there's something to be said, isn't there, about these collections. When you've got something like a home, away and third or a home, away and pre-match, it always looks good together. There's something very aesthetically pleasing about that. And as collectors, we all get excited, I'm sure, by photos like this from Jason. I really do like this trio together. I think you can see how the collection makes sense, where you've got the pre-match, which has elements of the home and away. And I love the bespoke designs that Nike did for South Korea. That tiger print away is amazing. And the home as well, I really like the flag elements that were used. And the colours, that shade of red and the kind of slightly pink shade, looks so good. Honestly, I actually regret not picking up the home, and it's one which I've looked at picking up recently and I couldn't find anywhere, so I'm going to have to kind of keep an eye on eBay now, even though not so long ago you could pick them up for a good price. So that was one that I kind of missed the boat on, because I think looking again I realised how good that collection was in 2020. Probably the best, I would say, a Nike collection. For me, this actually eclipses the second Nigeria collection. I say the second Niger collection, or the second collection from Nike following the 2018 release. This South Korea collection, I think, eclipses that for me. And I talked about trios of shirts. Shout out to Tom from the Shirt Union, another huge pillar of the community. Tom is known for collecting T90 shirts. And this is one thing I love about the shirt community. When someone gets a reputation for collecting a certain type of shirt or certain team shirts, and Total 90 shirts are loved by me, certainly, for the nostalgia. I loved football at that period. It was really when I got heavily into football and shirts. So I love seeing these Total 90 shirts. Tom added the amazing Valencia third shirt, which is one which I also added to my collection a couple of years back. So it was really cool to see another one of those in the wild and to see the home, away and third there together. Again, seeing these photos are so enjoyable as a collector. There's something really satisfying about having that kind of cycle completed. And it's really cool. It's really good to see those kind of things. I think that Valencia third shirt particularly is for me the best Total 90 shirt. And I love it when Valencia do those Senior designs, the flag designs. Really good stuff from Tom and the Shirt Union. And we finish with Rogan, who shows off this Dortmund Centenary shirt. And I want to talk about this one because I think these shirts are really collectible. These kind of one-off shirts, special edition shirts, to me hold a lot of value. Typically they're not as widely available. Some are mass produced, but often they are either limited or slightly more limited than your home and away releases. And for me, I like these kind of special edition shirts when they possess bespoke details. So you can see here the crest is quite notable. You've got obviously the very clear centenary theme in the 100 there with the BVB crest. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of words in shirts, I've talked about that a lot on this channel, I actually think it kind of suits the shirt quite well. And I enjoy just the whole aesthetic of it. It's got a slightly more classic vibe with the collar. And even though it's not necessarily very Kappa, that's the thing which is surprising about the shirt to me. You would look at this and I think you could stick almost any manufacturer's logo on there and you would probably think it fits. It's not very clearly a particular brand. But again, I think that kind of makes sense. For something like a Centenary shirt, it's quite nice when it isn't about the brand. It's very much about the club. And it's really good to see the name set there as well on the back. So again, I think these kind of shirts are really good ones to look out for. Often the prices aren't as high as you'd think. It depends on the kind of shirt you're going for. Some special edition shirts are expensive, but some actually can kind of fly under the radar. For me, I really enjoy looking out for these kind of shirts. And it's a bonus too if you can get them in a box or something like that. That's always fun too. But yeah, thank you to Rogan, thank you to Tom, Jason, Chat Shirts Get Banged, and Andy from Forbidden Football Shirts, and everyone else who sent in their own submissions. If you'd like to be featured on the next episode, make sure you reply to my tweet, which will be in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. But thank you for watching What I'm Buying June 2022. I loved hearing the comments what you think about my pickups, what you think about the community's pickups, what you've been buying in this last few weeks. It's always interesting to me as someone who's a collector to know what other collectors are buying. I think it's really cool to see different types of collectors out there. Those of you who buy modern shirts, those who are really into the vintage stuff. Such a diverse world, and I think it is really exciting. I get just as excited sometimes seeing someone finish a collection or finish a goal that they've been trying to achieve, as much as I do picking up shirts for myself. So let's enjoy this hobby together, which is growing more and more every month. As I said at the start, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and to like and comment on the video if you enjoyed it. But that's been it for What I'm Buying. I will see you very soon for another video or a live stream. Take care guys, and all the best.